You're listening to Rudy Radio, powered by Rude Rangers Entertainment. I am Terra Renee from African American Women in Cinema Organization, and this is Talk with Terra, a show that highlights fantastic filmmakers, artists, and entertainers, and executives from all walks of life. We're committed to introducing you to individuals, organizations, and projects of which you're not necessarily aware, and we do this with the intention of uplifting, empowering, and enlightening you. If you can please share this episode on all of your social media, we'd also love it if you text your friends and ask them to tune in. Feel free to ask questions, make comments, and or share your thoughts at any point during the show. We promise to respond. African American Women in Cinema is a nonprofit organization which brings awareness of talented women filmmakers of color globally. It is our pleasure to provide a platform to showcase their talented works and bring prominent industry professionals to educate those who are seeking a career within the industry. So today is my guest, the phenomenal Miss Tanya Grady, who is a powerhouse and a force to be reckoned with in her own way. She is a very good friend of mine, and she is a talented filmmaker. She's the CEO of her own production company. And I want to just introduce her to you, but would love for her to talk with you, talk to the audience about what she does. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome my incredible guest, Miss Tanya Grady.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much for such a lovely introduction, Terra. How are you?
I'm good. I'm so happy to have you.
Thank you. I am happy to be here. And like I said, such a wonderful introduction. My name's Tanya Grady, and I am the CEO of Gradygirl Productions, which is a boutique production company. We do everything in production from soup to nuts. So I specialize in television. I develop television shows, and I'm also a filmmaker. I'm a writer, and I'm a director, among many other things. But for my production company, pretty much people sort Gradygirl out when they want to develop a new concept for a television show, or you need me to basically produce the whole show, because that's what it is. A lot of people get ideas, but they don't have the faintest idea of how do I put a television show together. That's my specialty. So that's what I do. People call me to write scripts. People call me to consult with me. So anybody who's listening, if you have some ideas for television shows or films, and you need somebody to consult with you, you can definitely call Gradygirl. I get paid to consult with people.
There you go. I hear you. So I wanted to ask you, what drew you into this? Filmmaking, producing, television, what drew you into this?
Well, if you got time, I got a story. Well,
we got time.
Well, pretty much, as you know, Terra, I started out in public relations. I worked for the phenomenal Terry Williams, who is the epitome of the GOAT when it comes to public relations. And so I started out in public relations with Terry, and working for the Terry Williams agency, that just opened up a world of opportunity for me. You know, she handled, at the time that I was working there, she was handling Eddie Murphy, Chris Rock, just who else? Of course, my mind's gonna go blank. A number of celebrities. So it kind of ushered me into, I was already into the music industry. So I had little acts that I would, kind of promote, and I would represent. And this kind of laid the structure by giving me so many people who were already in the industry. So it kind of opened the door for me. So it went from PR to music. And then I moved down to Atlanta. And basically, soon as I got there, 1 week in Atlanta, my cousin's boyfriend asked me if I wanted to host his television show. And I'm like, ooh, a television show? You serious?
Wow.
And he was like, yeah. He's like, I like the way you walk, the way you talk. You got a certain style. I said, oh, you mean my swagger? I got swagger. So he wanted that New York swagger. So you know, Terra, I had to give it to him. I had to give it to
That's
him.
right.
So anyway, just to firm it all up, it started out with me hosting that television show, and I got bit by the bug because usually I worked behind the scenes in entertainment. I kind of got in front of the camera, and then I started loving it, and I said, you know what, let me start my own show. So that's how the Red Room Tonight got started, and from there I also started, you know, putting my hand into production. I started out doing a lot of different things in production. I could do pretty much anything, but I'll tell you, I know you know the film Remember the Titans.
Yes.
From a film, I believe. But you know, it was a football film. So I was kind of like a lead casting person, and all of those for extras. All of those big football guys that you see, I pretty much cast all of them.
Oh, you go, girl.
But that's back in the day. That's over 20-something years ago. That's how it got started. And then I just started doing my own thing. And then, of course, when I moved back to New York from Atlanta, I ventured out and did my own documentary film, which is called Man Up, the documentary, the exploration of a fatherless nation. So I produced and directed that, and that was my directorial debut.
Wow, I tell you, blown away. Yeah, I remember your documentary film. So why did you want to do that particular story?
Wow. Okay. It's fatherlessness. The documentary is it's telling stories about people who are growing up or don't have relationships with their father, but we're telling it from all sides because this is the film was so I think welcome because it came from a source of children, because I felt like I really wanted to give children a voice, and it started with my daughter. My daughter, you know, she didn't know her father at the time, and once we moved back to New York, she would ask me all the time, you know, like, Mommy, where's my daddy? I don't know where my daddy is. Where's my daddy? And we walking down the street, and she'd be like, is that my daddy? Is that my daddy? And it was driving me crazy. So I really started eating at me, and I didn't have the answer for her, and I felt bad as a mother that I could not tell her where her father was because I did not know where he was. So I decided, you know, I was like, you know what, it would be nice to kind of do an exploration to find out, why do men walk away from their children? So that's how it all started. And I've always been attached to fatherlessness in a sense where, you know, just always felt for people who didn't grow up with their fathers. And I grew up with my father, but I have a half brother, and my father wasn't there for him. So I was always the one asking my dad, like, why would you love us more than you loved him? Like, why are you not trying to, you know, be a father to him? So at an early age, that had always been a soft spot for me. So that's why I started doing a documentary, and because of my daughter, and it just snowballed. I mean, Terra, from the time I did the actual press release for it, I got calls from everybody, celebrities. I was blown away. I was like, what the hell? I was like, what is going on? I was like, do they know I don't know what I'm doing yet?
You know, it's always like that. But I got to put you on hold. We got to pause for a break. We'll be right back after these messages. You're listening to Talk with Terra, presented by African American Women in Cinema, right here on Rudy Radio.
Hi, I'm Hario Confetti, international Formula One driver. I spent to get to Long Island Telecom before they closed. I need to get one of these fantastic deals that Long Island Telecom has, because you can't beat the price anywhere else. Oh, get away from that car. What are you doing? Freaking kids playing with the car out there. Anyway, I'm glad I got here. Wait, what do you mean you're closing? I got to come back tomorrow? What's your number? 631-833-9679? Oh, stop writing me a ticket.
Welcome back. Talk with Terra. I am Terra Renee from African American Woman in Cinema, and today we are talking with the fabulous, talented Miss Tanya Grady, and she was telling us about her film and the effects that had taken place. So, Miss Tanya, could you please continue and let the audience hear more?
Sure. I have more because I believe I made history. No, I'm being funny, but I'm really not. This documentary took on a life of its own. Once I, like from the start, from the press release on, it just, everybody was interested. Everybody, wanted to be a part of it, and they actually couldn't even wait to get it. So
wow.
I was in production, and I got a call from Women in Television and Film in Atlanta. And because I was in Atlanta, but I moved back to New York by this time. So they called me up and they said, hey, we heard you're working on something, and we're having a film festival. Do you want to be a part of it? And I hadn't even finished complete. I said, I haven't even finished the film. And at that time, I think I had completed maybe 10 minutes. And she said, send me something. And I sent it to her. She was like, we got to have it. We love it. So it started, the film started, it went from 10 minutes to 30 minutes. And it just grew. And like I said, people had an insatiable appetite to want to see the film. So I got smart really quick. And I started saying, okay, people want to see the film. So I said, you know what? Let me not try to just finish it. Let me show it as I go. So that's why I started doing screenings. And, some people saw the 15-minute version. Some people saw the 30-minute versions. And some people saw the complete version. And it just, people loved it. And I started getting awards. I got so many awards and so many accolades for this documentary. And it was really because the film, again, it came from the perspective of a child, because my daughter was not in it, but she was the reason this film exists. So I went out and I found other children who were growing up without their father, and I let them speak, and I realized that was the magic. Nobody had really ever done that before. There's been a million films on fatherlessness, but never from the perspective of a child's tongue.
Wow.
So that's what really, I think, set it off. And I don't know how much you know about fatherhood organizations, or like that's a whole cult. Like I didn't even know that this existed.
Wow.
And when they heard about this documentary film, oh my goodness, when I tell you, it took off. It really took off. They were like, can you come here and screen it? Can you come here? And I was like, I don't have money to go here and drive here. They was like, we'll pay for you. Come here. So I went from me trying to get there on my own until people started calling me up. We want to have you come down. We'll host you. We'll pay. We'll fly you in. We'll put you in a hotel. They paid for everything. They gave me keys to the city, Terra. That's what I'm saying. That's how
my
dynamic the film is.
Wow. Congratulations. That is so awesome.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's crazy. And we went on a 10-city tour, probably about 2 or 3 times. And we kept going back to certain cities because people kept requesting me to come back.
Wow. That is so interesting. And I'm so glad you did that, because I always say there's 2 things. I love women filmmakers because they tell stories, or they reach the masses intuitively. And a lot of their stories have a healing element in it. And so I noticed that when we did a tour, African American Women in Cinema, Anti-Gun Violence, and when I stepped into the audience and began the whole process of screening the film that we had on the subject matter and talking about it, I literally felt the release in the room of a path towards healing. And so I'm curious, as you were going from audience to audience, what was the room? What did you feel in the room?
Ooh, Terra, even now when you just asked that question, not only was the room filled with healing, it was filled with understanding. And every time I screened the film, I screened it myself because I wanted control. So I didn't do too many film festivals. I wanted to do it myself. I wanted to bring my documentary film to the audience and let them know it was from me, the producer, the director, to them. And every time I screened the documentary, we did a town hall. So I got to hear people say, oh my God, thank you for doing this. People 50, 60, 70 years old. Nobody had ever asked me how I felt about my father leaving. Nobody ever talked to me about it. So the film was an awakening of those feelings. And it was the healing that you were talking about. So they started like hugging me and loving on me because, and I was like, whoa, this is it was getting so deep, Terra, because I mean, grown people, they just wanted to touch me. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe, I don't know why, I'm just the messenger. I'm just bringing this, but I tell you, Terra, I would get mobbed, and let me just tell you the brilliance of what I did. So, young filmmakers, I'm giving y'all a tip. I usually charge for this, but I'm gonna give y'all a tip. They wanted this documentary so bad, Terra, that I started, because the demand was there, I started selling DVDs, which had the 15-minute version of my documentary for $15. And I'll tell you this, my mother, a lot of people said, you must be crazy if you think somebody's gonna pay you for that. My mother, nobody's gonna pay you $15 for that. Not only did they pay me for it, they couldn't get enough of it. Then I started selling it online. So people from different cities, the Caribbean, they loved it. And people were having their own screenings with the 15-minute version.
What? Wow.
I swear to you, it's I can make a film just based on what happened with me in that film and how it took on a life of its own.
I think you should do that. You know why? Because it will inspire and encourage others to step out into what, they are called to do. Because a lot of times when you sense a calling, there is a lot of fear attached to it. Because like you just said, no one has ever done it from this perspective. And it requires so much courage. How did you get the courage to do this?
From my daughter, the courage came because I couldn't have the answers, so the courage came in me. I don't have the answers, but I'm gonna try to find the answers. That's why the film is called "Man Up: The Exploration of a the Exploration of a Fatherless Nation," because I wanted to explore why do men walk away from their families. And let me tell you something, Terra. A lot of the men that I interviewed, a lot of them didn't even understand the impact of what they were doing. A lot of them, and it was the fact that they could hear me. You know why they could hear me? Because I wasn't the mother screaming, the baby mama screaming at them, or their family member. I was just, a person saying, hey, I'm doing this documentary and I would love to talk to you about your relationship with your child. And men would come and they would talk. And one man who, Duvall, who was in the documentary, his baby mama kept him from his children. So that was the thing where they saw a man crying because he could not be with his children. So when people heard the name of the documentary, Man Up, they thought that the film was attacking men. It wasn't. It was just trying to find out why. Let's talk about it.
Wow. Well, I'm so proud of you for doing that. And I think that that should be your follow-up, the making of, you taking this initiative and what happened. That would be a great backup or follow-up film. I think so.
I tell you, Terra, I want to, but my hands are filled right now. And I told you, I'm working on a documentary right now that's going to be awesome. This documentary that I'm actually in post on this right now. It's called For the Love of Diggs. And Thomas Diggs is a man who was, he was my next door neighbor, but he was kind of like the father to this whole projects. And not just the projects, but the Brooklyn community because he ran basketball tournaments. He was the man who ran the night center, and he was really the only father a lot of these children saw day in and day out. And he loved us. He kept us in line. He kept a lot of kids from, doing things, getting into drugs or gangs, and nobody had paid this man the respect that was due him. So as a community, we all love him. And I just felt like, you know what? This is the legacy stuff right here. So I wanted to do a documentary and have all of the people these people like myself are in their 50s and 60s now, who were children back then, want to give it back to him. So that's why I named the documentary. I'm getting tongue-tied. That's why I named the documentary For the Love of Diggs, because we're giving the love back.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. On that note, we have to take another commercial break, but please don't forget to share this episode on social media. You're listening to Talk with Terra, powered by African American Women in Cinema on Rudy Radio.
I am Madame Francois, and I'm introducing my new luxury skincare brand that's available to you at an attainable price. Discover my beauty secrets, luxurious, effective ingredients with proven results, and a price tag that doesn't break the bank. Come indulge with me at lesmadamefrancois.com.
Welcome back. You're listening to Rudy Radio, powered by Rude Rangers Entertainment. I am Terra Renee from African American Women in Cinema Organization, and this is Talk with Terra. Our guest is the fabulous Tanya Grady. Tanya, I tell you, I know our audience is blown away at what you're sharing, and we definitely appreciate it, what you have done so far, and the documentary that you have in the works. It's going to be another healing moment, another power-packed moment. What are your plans in the midst of COVID now? This pandemic, it looks like it'll be a little while before we get out of it, but what are your plans on getting it out to the masses?
Well, I think for me, that's easy because I have a track record with Man Ups, and I have an audience and a constituents who, they're waiting for me to bring them something else. So my first thing is going to be, because where I grew up in Brevoort, there's a Coliseum. This is the only projects that has a Coliseum. So that's where they play ball, in the Coliseum. Wow. So I want to screen it in the Coliseum. That's going to be the first one. So everybody could come out with their mask on. We'll bring in a big truck and project it. And have Mr. Diggs, who lives in Vegas now, have him come up and see it with everybody. So that's the first part. After that, I'm just going to call on all my friends in the different cities where I screened Man Up and say, hey, I want to come to your city and I want to screen my new film.
Wow, that is amazing. I meant to ask you, your last film, Man Up, how long did it end up being, the final product?
Actually, it ended up being, I believe, let me see, because it's so many versions of it. It ended up being probably about an hour and 15 in essence, once because I kept perfecting it. So I would have a version, then I would say, you know what, I want to change it. So in the end, probably about an hour and 15.
That sounds good. Now, Tanya, I want to talk to you because one of the things that we do in the organization, what we like to do is to really tell people or give them, I call it real deal insight as to what to expect when they start pursuing their dreams in this industry. Because, they may come to me with big stars in their eyes, and may read these past stories. I submitted my headshot to Warner Brothers, and the next day I'm starring in the film. And I tell them up front, I don't want to burst your bubble, but this is a process. So can you talk to the audience about that process and the time frame? Because I tell my folks all the time, I don't want you to be disillusioned I was doing this for 5 years and nothing's happening. Please talk about that.
Well, Terra, I'm very big on straight talk, so I will definitely let them know. I also, LinkedIn asked me to, mentor people who are just getting into the media field. So, and I have these people and I have calls with them, and they're like, I just graduated from college, and this is my first job, and I wanted to be a producer. And I'm like, honey, look, let me tell you the real. Let me tell you what's really going on. First of all, lower your expectations. That's first of all, because I believe don't get me wrong, I'm not saying don't reach for the sky.
Right.
But a lot of these kids think that college degree is ultimately going to give them the perfect job. I said, I've been in this industry for going on 25 years and I don't have the perfect job. I'm still trying to get to where I'm going. And I use that to kind of get them to see. Because they look up to me as if, oh my God, you got a television show, you got a production company, and you're doing films. And I'm like, I struggle every day. I have to try to figure out, am I going to get this part of my film edited, or I'm going to pay my light bill?
Yep.
You feel what I'm saying?
Yes.
Those are the real struggles that I think independent filmmakers are going through. And when you talk about it right now, in the film that I'm doing right now, For the Love of Diggs, it's a pandemic. I'm not making any money. But because I want to give him his flowers while he's alive, I am pushing myself to get to the finish line. And it's taken everything that I have, Terra, everything that I have. And that's what people need to realize. If you want to do this, know that you're going to have to put everything, and I say everything, into it, because filmmakers know you leave it all on the floor. You leave it all on the floor. If you don't, stay your ass home. That's it.
That is true. What are some of the things that you could give them as a tool for surviving the process, if you will? What are some of the tools?
I would think some of the tools would be to survive this process of filmmaking is to get yourself a good core group of people to support you. That is like paramount, and it's hard. And when I say a group, if you find 2, you're lucky. And I mean to support you, not necessarily financially, but to support what you're doing and to encourage you and to let you know, I see you, and they may help out here and there. And because what I realized, and I say this because I'm a lone star, I didn't have that. You know what I'm saying? And I wish that I had that. And I think if people would get a couple of good people in their corner to root for them, really, really, really root for them. And I'm not going to say I didn't have people root for me, but I mean people that are intentionally saying, I know this is hard, so I'm going to be in your cheerleading section. You know what I'm saying? And I think also ultimately what people need to realize is that you're going to need stamina. And you're gonna need staying power. So know that going in, that's a tool. So if you go into it with your first film, whether it's a short or a feature, knowing that, okay, I want this, I want to produce this, and I want to get it out, and I think I could turn it around in a year. And that's good to have lofty goals, but just know, if you don't get to that goal of getting it in a year, you need to have stamina. It may take you 3 years. It may take you 5 years. Terra, I have projects now that's sitting right there that I wanted to do. But you know what? I have the stamina, but I don't have the money. But the stamina comes where it's going to get done. It's just not in the time frame that I had initially hoped.
And that is so important, to recognize seasons and time frames for things. And one of the folks that I was talking to, they were telling me, very interestingly enough, they're big on seasons. And they said, Terra, I look at some of the projects that I have. And one of the ways that I apply my stamina to a specific project is if I see the alignment of that particular project happening within a certain season. And I said, that is interesting. That is very interesting, because now they know they can start flowing. And yes, there may be some hiccups along the way, but at the end of the day, everything they need will be there to get that project done. And I think that in order to even get to that place where you have that level of awareness, it requires staying in the process. And it is true, if you can get 1 or 2 people, to cheer you on and certainly support you, when they can, that do make a difference, because this industry is so competitive, and it's just the mindsets that are out there, oh, well, let me step on her so I can grab this opportunity, and and I've seen people, Tanya, who have harbored so much bitterness behind the process that it began to hold them back.
Yeah.
Have you seen that as well?
Oh, I've seen a lot of bitterness, and a bitterness in the sense of, like you said, it's so competitive in this industry. So I have friends who were filmmakers and writers well before I decided to throw my hat into the ring. And I feel, that they are a little bitter, like, who said you could do this? Who said, who said that that this was open to you? And you feel it. You do. You can feel the bitterness almost. And one of the things, I do want to go back for a second, Terra, because I think one of the tools that I should have mentioned and that I didn't mention, and this is, I think, paramount. I think one of the tools people need is that they need to know you cannot be of the faint of heart to be business. That's something that people don't tell them. Yes. You cannot be faint of heart, because you're gonna need a tough skin, and then you're gonna have to go get an alligator, kill it, and put it on to get through what these people are gonna do to you. They're gonna eat you up, chew you up, tell you you're not good enough, tell you don't know what you're doing. So you can't be faint of heart to be in this business.
It's so true. It's so true. And also too, arming yourself with as much education as possible. And so I love, Tanya, one of the things that I love that you've been saying throughout this time that we've been sharing is that I know how to do this. I know how to do that. And I have seen people get tripped up because they don't know how to do certain things, and that can cause a delay, and moving forward. So on that note, we have to take a break, but I will be right back with more Talk with Terra.
Hi, I'm Dan O'Shea, Executive Director for Maureen's Haven Homeless Outreach. It is our mission to support the homeless in our community. We provide an emergency winter shelter program, a day center, and support services to help the homeless in our community. With your help, we can continue to provide services so critically needed to the homeless in our community. Please visit www.maureen'shaven.org or call us at 631-727-683.
I am Madame Francois, and I'm introducing my new luxury skincare brand that's available to you at an attainable price. Discover my beauty secrets, luxurious, effective ingredients with proven results and a price tag that doesn't break the bank. Come indulge with me at lesmadamefrancois.com.
Welcome back to Talk with Terra, presented by African American Women in Cinema. I'm your host, Terra Renee, and I hope you're enjoying this conversation as much as I am. Please be sure to share your questions and comments in the chat section. You can always find more great shows like this anytime you want by visiting rudyradio.com. Today I'm talking with the fabulous Miss Tanya Grady, and I want to share a story of inspiration and why Tanya is such a good buddy of mine. A while ago, Tanya reached out to me and made a incredible opportunity for me. And that was an opportunity to be interviewed on CNN. I was floored at the opportunity because I love CNN, watch CNN every day. Never even thought for a moment that it would be possible that I would be on CNN until I got the call from Miss Tanya Grady to welcome me there. And Tanya, I want to say, I know I told you then, but I want to say thank you. That was the day that really touched my heart in ways that gave me the stamina to continue to move forward. I was so encouraged by that. It was that drink of water in a very hot desert at 12 noon. I will never forget you for that. You are my angel, and I thank God so much for you for doing that. A woman who looks like me, who made that opportunity for me in the entertainment industry. And I am here to testify that yes, it is possible. So Miss Tanya, thank you.
Wow, Terra, I just want to say you are most welcome. And again, I am more than happy to try to do anything that I can to further your career, help you in any way that I can, because I could truly say I knew you when, I knew you when you were first starting out, and you just had the biggest goal, the biggest talent, the biggest personality, and to see where you came from to where you are now and how much you have grown, and you've done some amazing things. Oh my God, you have done some things where whenever I see you, I look up, because we stay busy, but every now and then I look up and I'll see you somewhere or see a post or see something on social media, and I'm like, go Terra, go Terra. I'm always rooting for you. So to be able to get you on to CNN back then, that for me was a no-brainer. And I will just say this, being at CNN at a time when CNN was the world news leader, not the CNN that you see now, the CNN from 20 some odd years ago, when it was respected around the globe. And to be a young producer at CNN and to produce hard news all the time, I saw an opportunity, and I created a lane for myself where I could not only just do my job and produce hard news, but I created a lane where I could enterprise stories and tell Black stories. And CNN was very white back then. You didn't have a lot of Black and brown stories. So I created a lane where I would try at every corner, every turn, to get a story on where somebody looked like me, or somebody, somebody Black, somebody who needed an opportunity to get that national exposure. And some of the people that I helped, who I'm very proud to say that I, was instrumental in helping Tom Joyner. Tom Joyner had wanted to get his Party with a Purpose on CNN for years. And I'm talking like I believe it was almost like 7 or 8 years, if not more. He had been trying to get on pitching to CNN. Now this man is raising all of this money for historically Black colleges with this cruise that he would do, Party with a Purpose, and CNN could care less. They did not, he pitched it all the time. They always turned it down. And then one of his reps came to me and they said, look, we've been hearing some things about you doing some stuff at CNN. Do you think you could get Tom Joyner? He'd been wanting to get his story profiled on CNN for a long time. Would you be able to do it? I was like, automatically, not a problem. Not only did I do it, I did the hell out of it. I got him on, I interviewed him, I went on the cruise, I took footage of the whole cruise, put a kick-ass package together, and then I took it and brought it to CNN, because that's how I would do it. I would enterprise the story myself, my own money, my own time, my own energy, and put it together and bring it back to CNN and say to them, hey, I think I would pitch it. Hey, I think that this party with a purpose, Tom Joyner's been doing this for a long time, and he's, raising money for historically Black colleges. That's newsworthy. And they would always say, yeah, it's newsworthy, but, we're not going to spend money on that. And this is where I got them, Terra. I'd be like, bam! Like, it's done. And then they would look at it and be like, oh my God, it's done. So not only did it run nationally, the story ran internationally. Wow. And Tom Joyner was so damn grateful. He was so excited. He couldn't believe all these years. And he knew the person that was running CNN newsroom at the time. I ain't gonna say her name. She couldn't get him on the air, but my Black ass did. And I put her on here because I like person. So I did. And Tom, he had also promised me that I would go on the cruise for free next year, and never happened because I was actually pregnant on the cruise and didn't know it. So I had my baby the next year and I didn't go, and then we fell out of contact. But let me just mention a couple of other people. Another story is Lee Daniels. My name was making some waves in the street. People knew it was a young Black producer, getting people on the air. So again, one of his people had approached me like, do you know Lee Daniels? And I was like, yeah, I kind of heard about him, no big thing, whatever. And they said, well, he's Monsters Ball, is up for, Halle Berry is up for the Academy Award. And Halle was getting all of this press. I mean, she was getting so much press because she was going to potentially be the first African-American to get, woman to get this in a lead role, whatever. And she was getting so much press, but Lee Daniels, the person responsible, producer, director behind it, couldn't buy any press. He could not buy any press. So they came to me and they was like, well, do you think you could do a story, get CNN to do a story about him? And I was like, sure, I can. They was like, for real? Even he didn't believe. He's like, she thinks she's gonna be able to do it? Lo and behold, I was living in Atlanta at the time, took a trip to New York, met with Lee. We instantly loved each other from the beginning. He was like, I can't believe CNN got a cute young Black producer. I was like, yeah, they do this cute. I produced the story, took it back and pitched it to them. And I said, look, here's the story. I said, everybody's running, all the networks are running with, Halle Berry and her getting this, Oscar. I said, how about we look at it from another angle? Let's go behind the story. Let's look at the young Black man who's, producer, director. Let's look at him. He's the one that put her in this position. And they were like, oh, that's a good angle. Nobody's doing that. And there I was again, Terra. Bam! Already got it. So when I called Lee and I told him and his camp, I was like, I got you on CNN. And he was like, they're going to do it. They're going to do it. I was like, yeah, they're going to air the package. It's going to be on CNN. And I said, I'm going to do you one better. I'm going to get you on CNN Live. So we rolled the package. And when we came out of the package, Lee Daniels was on as a guest. And we had Halle as a beeper, but she got disconnected. But all that to say, he was on CNN. He could not believe that he was on CNN. And you paying all these people to do PR and press and all this, but it was this young Black woman behind the scenes who did it out of love. And not only did his story run nationally, it ran internationally. And because of it, Lee told me this out. He called me up and called me up crying. This is a true story. I cannot believe this. Oh my God. Oh, my phone is ringing off the hook. People saw the piece on CNN. All of the work that he had been trying to get and pitching stories, they were green lighting his projects. He was crying on the phone. And that's a story that I've held, and a lot of people, it hasn't made mainstream media, and it needs to, because at the end of the day, people don't understand. That was not my job. My job at CNN was to do hard news.
Wow.
I did this on my own. I did this for the love of my people. I did it for the culture. And I'm going to be honest with you, Terra, I don't pull no punches. I think all of those people, they went on and succeeded and doing all great things. They don't look back and say, how Tyler Perry said, the person that helps you get over. I was that person that helped a lot of people get over because, again, when you take the story in context, CNN was able to legitimize people. So
it's true.
All of this talent, but when he got on CNN and CNN is recognizing his talent, that's when everybody said, "Oh, this is the new hot director." That was a Grady Girl thing. That was some Grady Girl magic behind the scenes. But they don't give me the love and the respect for it. But it's okay, because I always say, let him use you. God used me to do that, not only for you, Terra, for a lot of people.
Wow. And this is so important, Tanya, that people know this, and to understand that there are necessary divine helpers that God will put in your life to help you go to your next dimension. And I love to take care of my divine helpers. I love to let my divine helpers know, thank you. It is because of you, and I deeply appreciate you. And any moment and chance that God give me the opportunity, I love to pay it back and let them know that I deeply and humbly appreciate them. And thank you, Tanya. It means the world to me that you're on this show with me at this time. So thank you. Thank you. Wow. I don't know where the time went, but they're telling me that we have to go. Thank you so much, audience, for listening to Talk with Terra. I am Terra Renee from the African American Women in Cinema Organization. You can visit us at www.aawic.org. You can also follow us on the Instagram and Twitter, and like us on Facebook. To my special guest, Ms. Tanya Grady, would you like to give your social media information?
Yes. Anybody interested in learning more about Tanya Grady, Gradygirl, and Gradygirl Productions, you can go to gradygirl.com. That's my company website. But on Instagram, you can reach me at @IamGradygirl_BKLNY, like abbreviation for Brooklyn. But if you put in at I Am Grady Girl, I will come up. And also just you could just Google me. Google Grady Girl, and Grady Girl is one word. A lot of people don't know that, but it's Grady Girl. And put in Grady Girl, #Grady Girl, #Tanya, TONIA Grady. All of my stuff comes up. And I just want to say this. I also have a YouTube channel, which is called Grady Girl TV. So if you want to see all of those projects that I talked about, like I don't think I told the story about CNN. Not CNN, about Tyler Perry, but that interview with Tyler Perry, I did his first television interview. That is on Grady Girl TV, and a lot of the other projects that I worked on.
Wonderful, wonderful. Talk with Terra is made possible by Rude Rangers Entertainment. Our creative director is Rudy J. Breedy. Please don't forget to like and share this episode with as many people as possible. We sincerely appreciate you joining us today and wish you continued peace, blessings, and prosperity. See you next episode.